What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, artificial intelligence is reading messages that were never meant for us? Messages carved into clay 6,000 years ago, written in a language so ancient that only a handful of people on Earth could decipher it until 3 months ago. In laboratories across Tel Aviv, Munich, and hidden research facilities, AI systems are translating ancient Sumerian texts at a speed that's making archaeologists physically shake. And what they're finding, it's not what anyone expected. These aren't grocery lists. These aren't tax records. These tablets describe technologies that shouldn't exist. They contain astronomical data that predates modern science by millennia, and they tell an origin story about humanity that sounds less like mythology and more like a lab report. The implications are so staggering that some researchers are afraid to publish their findings, because if what these tablets say is true, then everything we've been taught about human history is wrong, dead wrong. Our ancestors didn't slowly climb from caves to cities. Something else happened. Something that was written down, pressed into wet clay and buried, waiting. Before we go any further, subscribe to The Sleepy Computer Scientist. You're going to want to follow this story as it unfolds, because what's coming next will change how you see everything. Let's find out. Tel Aviv University, 2023. A researcher uploads a photograph of a crumbling clay tablet. The wedge-shaped marks covering its surface are 4,000 years old. In the old world, translating this tablet would have consumed weeks of a scholar's life, maybe months. There are only a few hundred people alive who can read ancient Akkadian, but she clicks a button. 3 seconds pass. The screen fills with English text. Perfect translation, preserving tone, context, cultural nuance. She sits back, and for a moment she just stares, because she understands what just happened. A dam just broke. Right now, 500,000 clay tablets sit in museums and storage rooms around the world. 500,000 windows into the ancient past. Before AI, only 4% had been translated and made public. 4%. The other 96% have been gathering dust for thousands of years, their secrets locked inside a language almost no one can read, until now. The bottleneck wasn't just the complexity of the language, though Sumerian and Akkadian are brutally difficult. It was the sheer scarcity of experts. Learning cuneiform takes decades. There simply weren't enough scholars to handle the volume. A single symbol can have 17 different sounds and 6 different meanings. The symbol for sun also means day, light, time, storm, and several other concepts depending on context. Imagine reading a text where every word might be 5 different words, and you only know which one by understanding the entire sentence structure, the historical period, and the cultural context. That's cuneiform. But neural networks don't get tired. They don't need decades of training. They learn patterns. And in 2023, researchers trained an AI on expert translations from something called the Open Richly Annotated Cuneiform Corpus. The AI learned to read both transliterations and actual cuneiform symbols. You could show it a picture of wedge marks in clay, and it would read them. The results shocked everyone. The AI achieved translation scores that meant scholars could finally get solid first drafts instead of starting from absolute zero every single time. One of the computer scientists, Gay Guthers, said something that should make your skin crawl. He said, "What's so amazing is that I don't need to understand Akkadian at all to translate a tablet and get what's behind the cuneiform." Think about that. Someone with zero knowledge of ancient languages can now access texts hidden for 4,000 years. But here's where reality starts bending. As the translations poured in, patterns emerged, patterns that don't make sense. An independent researcher, someone with deep expertise in neural networks and ancient languages, built what he calls the AI Cuneiform Corpus. 130,000 translated texts. The largest collection in the world. Before AI, only 4,000 Sumerian texts had public translations. Now there are 130,000, a 3,000% increase in 2 years, and buried in that flood of new translations, researchers found something that's making them very uncomfortable. The Sumerians used base 60 mathematics, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 360 degrees in a circle. That's them, 6,000 years ago. But it goes deeper, way deeper. The tablets contain precise planetary observations. They tracked solstices, equinoxes, and here's the part that shouldn't be possible. They understood Earth's axial precession. Precession is a wobble in Earth's rotation that takes 26,000 years to complete, one full cycle. Modern science only nailed this down in recent centuries. The Sumerians were tracking it. How do you detect a 26,000-year cycle when you only live 80 years? You don't, unless you're maintaining continuous observational records across hundreds of generations. Someone set up that system. Someone designed it to run for thousands of years. Why? Then there's the medical knowledge. The tablets describe antiseptics, pulse diagnosis, wound care protocols, family health records documenting hereditary conditions. They knew certain diseases ran in families. They wrote it down systematically. This is genetics before genetics existed, 4,000 years before Governmental. And then the tablets describe something that makes no sense at all. Copper and iron containers, acidic liquids, references to current, spark, radiant glow. That's the Baghdad battery, an actual artifact found in Iraq, a primitive electrochemical cell. Whether they stumbled onto it or engineered it deliberately, the Sumerians were documenting electrical phenomena. But the strangest passages talk about stones that burned the earth, stones that poisoned the land, buried deep to contain their danger. Today we know about desert glass, silica fused by extreme heat, possibly meteor impacts, or something else. Could these scorching stones be related? Some researchers whisper about lost weapons, technologies that shouldn't exist, and that's when the translations reveal the most disturbing text of all. The tablets describe how humans were made, not born, not evolved, made, according to the Atrasis, Epic, and the Eridu Genesis. Humanity was engineered. The beings called Anunnaki needed workers. The lesser gods, the Agigi, were doing manual labor. They rebelled, went on strike. So the Anunnaki created replacements. They mixed clay with what the texts called divine essence. They called the first one Adamu. The parallels to later religious texts are impossible to ignore. But here's what's shaking researchers right now. The tablets say the first attempts failed. The prototype humans were sterile, not intelligent enough, not fit for purpose. So the Anunnaki kept modifying the design, tweaking it, until they got it right. Humans who could reproduce, think, survive. Thanks to AI translation, researchers are finding technical language in these passages: essence mixture, prototype yield, reproductive capacity. Words that sound less like poetry and more like lab notes. Ancient astronaut theorists point to human chromosome 2. It looks like two ancestral chromosomes fused together. Did someone edit us? Mainstream science says no. But the debate is getting louder as more tablets get translated, because the technical language keeps showing up. And then there's Nibiru. According to Zecharia Sitchin's controversial interpretation, the Anunnaki came from a distant planet with a 3,600-year orbit. They arrived 450,000 years ago. Every time Nibiru swung close to Earth, civilizations rose and fell, cataclysms, climate shifts, waves of change. Sitchin's translations are disputed, heavily. But here's the undeniable fact. Sumerian tablets record massive disasters, floods, droughts, catastrophes, and they tie these events to celestial phenomena: red skies, rivers flowing backward, stars scorching the land. Were they describing natural disasters through a mythological lens, or documenting something we don't understand yet? AI is cross-referencing these disaster accounts with confirmed climate events. The correlations are eerie. 4,200 years ago, a climate catastrophe struck the Middle East. The 4.2 kiloyear event, massive drought. The Akkadian Empire collapsed. Mass migrations. Famine. We have scientific proof this happened. Ice cores, sediment layers, archaeological evidence. But when you read the Sumerian tablets from that period, they don't just mention drought. They describe red skies, a blackened sun, stars devouring the land, rivers reversing course. Scholars dismissed this as exaggeration, ancient people being dramatic. But AI is flagging these passages as potential descriptions of actual celestial events. Meteor impacts, solar storms, something in the sky that coincided with the climate disaster. The Sumerians didn't describe one flood, one disaster. They described cycles, repeating patterns, ages rising and falling, all encoded in astronomical records. If they were tracking precession, a 26,000-year cycle, they were thinking on a timescale beyond individual lives, beyond single civilizations. They were tracking cosmic time. What were they preparing for? Then there's the Sumerian king list, a document recording rulers and their reign lengths. Sounds straightforward, except the first king, Alulim, ruled for 28,800 years. The next king, Dumuzid, ruled 36,000 years. These numbers appear consistently across multiple copies. As you move forward through the list, reign lengths gradually decrease. Later kings ruled hundreds of years. Eventually you reach historically verified rulers with normal human lifespans. Mainstream historians call the big numbers symbolic, divine authority. Our king was so mighty he ruled forever. But some researchers wonder if these early rulers were hybrids, part human, part something else, part Anunnaki. In Urd, archaeologists opened Queen Pawabi's tomb, 2600 BC. They found a skull that didn't fit, naturally elongated, not from intentional deformation, just naturally different. Nearby, skeletons over 7 feet tall, extremely rare for ancient Sumerian populations, rare even today, genetic anomalies, or evidence of something else. The Sumerians obsessed over bloodline purity. Their texts constantly mention the seed of Anu. They practiced dynastic marriages, strict rituals, laws designed to protect specific bloodlines. Why? Egyptian pharaohs claimed divine descent. Inca rulers said they came from the sun. Tibetan Dalai Lamas are reincarnations of divine beings. Cultures worldwide have these traditions, but the Sumerians wrote it all down first, in detail, and now AI is translating what they wrote. The language itself is a nightmare. Sumerian is a language isolate, no relatives, no other language on Earth is connected to it. That makes translation incredibly difficult. You can't use comparative linguistics. Sumerian stands alone. Words shift meaning based on context. The word me can mean divine command, cultural ideal or physical object. It changes based on grammar, time period, usage. This has caused wildly different interpretations. Zechariah Sitchin claimed some passages described energy-filled objects. He said Tablet VA243 was a star map. Scholars debunked that specific claim. It was a dedication, not a cosmic chart. But just because Sitchin got details wrong doesn't mean the tablets are simple mythology. AI is uncovering technical phrases within mythic verses, descriptions of ME, traditionally translated as divine boats or flying chariots, now show details that sound technological. Airflow systems, sealed cabins, protective shells, energy sources. Are these distorted memories of actual devices, metaphors for spiritual concepts, or ancient people describing things they didn't fully understand? The line between myth and technology keeps thinning. AI has identified passages describing ME as transferable objects, physical things that could be given, stolen, lost. In one myth, The goddess Inanna gets the god Enki drunk. She tricks him into giving her over 100 ME. She flees with them to Uruk. When Enki sobers up, he sends monsters to retrieve them. But Inanna successfully defends her haul. She brings the ME to Uruk. Her city flourishes. Traditional scholars say ME means divine powers or cultural innovations. The myth represents civilization transferring from one city to another, but AI reveals the descriptions include physical details, weight, special containers. They could be counted, catalogued. Some passages describe them glowing, humming, emanating power. Ninmah, barely discussed, but crucial. Enlil's scribe, librarian of the gods, midwife to humanity's creation, healer, keeper of cosmic knowledge. By the time Babylonians wrote the Enuma Elish, the pantheon had grown to over 300 deities. The deeper researchers dig, the more names appear. Dozens of gods we barely know, many waiting in archives, half translated, stories incomplete. Some scholars think there were local gods tied to specific phenomena, one god for a spring, another for marsh reeds, gods for individual winds. Every new fragment could introduce a forgotten deity. The challenge is immense. Sumerian mythology isn't a complete book. It's a jigsaw puzzle with half the pieces missing. Some pieces from different puzzles. The picture on the box is a guess. Most knowledge comes from shattered tablets, eroded, damaged. Scholars piece together stories from fragments found in different places, written centuries apart. Different dialects. A single syllable could be carved 25 ways. Shifts between Sumerian, Akkadian, Neo-Babylonian dialects. Poetic language. Metaphors. Every translation is high-stakes interpretation. For decades, Western scholars dismissed gods as unimportant, primitive, local oddities. Entire deities overlooked, misclassified. Even Inanna's descent wasn't fully understood until the 1900s. Took decades to piece together. AI changes everything, cross-referencing thousands of fragments, identifying patterns, recognizing context, reconstructing stories human scholars missed, spotting connections between tablets found thousands of miles apart, written hundreds of years apart, clearly describing the same event or deity. Sumerian mythology was far more sophisticated than realized, but it raises a fundamental question. What exactly were they describing? Symbolic representations of nature, political allegories, or actual beings? The Anunnaki are central. In early legend, divine judges, cosmic beings, gods, but middle management in the divine hierarchy. In modern fringe theories, ancient astronauts, extraterrestrials who engineered humans and ruled early civilizations. Sitchin's interpretation is controversial. Mainstream scholars reject most of his translations, but AI reveals something strange. Buried within mythic verses about the Anunnaki are technical phrases, energy vessels, divine codes, sealed chambers with breathable air, protective coverings, environmental control systems. These descriptions are thousands of years old, too precise to dismiss as imagination. Descriptions of MEE flying chariots now show airflow systems, sealed compartments, protective shells, distorted memories of flying machines, spacecraft, or projecting modern technology onto ancient myths. The more AI translates, the more technical these descriptions appear. Some tablets describe journeys between cities that took impossibly short times, distances that should have taken days covered in hours. How? The texts say traveling in the MEE, arriving quickly, exaggeration, mythical time compression, or records of actual rapid transport. Then there's the Ikor temple in Nippur, Enlil's stronghold. Not just a temple, according to tablets, the bond between heaven and earth. It contained chambers deep underground, sealed spaces, carefully controlled environments. These chambers held the tablets of destiny, objects of immense power controlling fate itself. When the divine thunderbird Anzu stole these tablets, cosmic chaos erupted. The gods sent a champion to retrieve them. Why were these tablets so important? If symbolic, why describe them with specific physical details? Weight, size, material, secure chambers. Some newly translated tablets contain what look like technical instructions, step-by-step procedures for rituals that sound like operating manuals. Do this action in this order. Use these materials. Maintain these conditions. The results described are physical, tangible, not spiritual enlightenment. Lights appearing, sounds emanating, objects activating. What were they doing? The Sumerians were mathematical geniuses. Base 60 wasn't arbitrary. 60 is divisible by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30. Makes calculations and fractions easier. But where did they get this? Most cultures use base 10, 10 fingers, natural, intuitive. But base 60 requires conceptual leaps. Someone thought, what number makes calculations easiest across applications? They landed on 60. Sophisticated mathematical thinking. Astronomical knowledge equally advanced. Tablets contain planetary positions, eclipse predictions, observations of precession. To detect precession, you need continuous precise observations over generations. Individual humans live 70, 80 years. You can't detect a 26,000-year cycle in one lifetime. The Sumerians maintained observational traditions over centuries, millennia. Who set that up? Why? What were they tracking? Many ancient cultures have myths about gods or culture bringers who arrived and taught civilization. Egyptians had Thoth, Mayans had Quetzalcoatl, Sumerians had Enki and the Anunnaki, universal mythological archetype, humans processing civilization's mysterious origins, or a kernel of historical truth. Could there have been an earlier advanced civilization? Survivors remembered as gods, or as wilder theories suggest, actual extraterrestrial contact. There's no definitive proof of ancient aliens. None. Mainstream consensus is that Sumerians were brilliant humans who developed civilization through ingenuity, hard work, accumulated knowledge. Stories about gods are mythology, symbolic narratives, but AI translation reveals these myths contain far more technical detail than appreciated. The more we translate, the harder it becomes to say it's all metaphor and move on. Consider the medical knowledge, surgical procedures, trepanation, drilling holes in skulls, pharmacology, plants and minerals for healing, preparation methods, diagnostic techniques, pulse checking, examining bodily fluids. Some tablets look like case studies. Patients, symptoms, treatments, outcomes, systematic medical knowledge. Recorded, transmitted. Where did it come from? Trial and error over generations. Absolutely possible. But some knowledge appears fully formed. Earliest medical tablets already sophisticated, suggesting a foundation already in place when writing began. What was that foundation? Then there are tablets describing electricity, not modern grids, basic electrochemistry, copper and iron containers, acidic liquids, reactions producing current, spark, glow. The Baghdad battery fits these descriptions. Simple galvanic cell, primitive battery. Did Sumerians discover electrochemistry? Use it for something. Tablets suggest they observed and documented electrical phenomena, whether they understood it or not. Some researchers speculate they used devices for electroplating gold onto objects. Requires electrical current. Is there evidence of electroplating in ancient Mesopotamia? Actually, yes. Some artifacts show gold plating remarkably even and thin, characteristics consistent with electroplating rather than gold leaf. Coincidence? Or did they know more than we credit? The flood myths are central to Sumerian literature, multiple versions across many tablets. Most famous is the Epic of Gilgamesh. Includes Utanapishtim, who survived a great flood by building a boat on advice from the god Ea, another name for Enki, clearly parallels the biblical Noah story. Not surprising since the biblical account was written later. Ancient Hebrews had Mesopotamian contact, but the Sumerian version has details the biblical version lacks: specific dimensions for the boat, waterproofing instructions, lists of animals and supplies, flood duration, exact sequence of events. Reads less like a morality tale, more like a survivor's account. Geological evidence shows massive flooding did occur in Mesopotamia. The Tigris and Euphrates flooded regularly. Sediment layers indicate truly catastrophic floods in ancient times, so there was probably historical basis for flood myths. But the tablets describe this as more than a bad river flood, a cataclysm nearly wiping out humanity, and the tablets say it was deliberate. The gods decided to destroy humanity, sent the flood, but one god, Enki, defied the others, secretly warned Utnapishtim, gave instructions to survive. Why would gods want to wipe out humanity? According to the Atreides epic, humans became too numerous, too noisy, disturbing the gods' rest. So gods decided to solve the problem with a flood. Extreme solution for a noise complaint. Unless there's more to the story. Some researchers interpret this as metaphor for overpopulation or environmental collapse. Others take it literally. Whoever the gods really were saw humanity as a problem needing solving. But Enki, the trickster who favored humans, couldn't let his creations be destroyed. He warned Utnapishtim in secret. After the flood, when other gods realized what Enki did, they were furious. Too late, humanity survived. Interestingly, tablets say after the flood, gods made humanity less fertile, instituted death, so humans wouldn't become so numerous again. Chilling detail. Taken literally, sounds like population control measures. Taken metaphorically, represents transition from mythical golden age to harsh mortal reality. Either way, striking narrative. Tablets describe other disasters beyond the flood: droughts, plagues, famines, many tied to celestial events, red skies, falling stars, the sun appearing wrong. Were they witnessing something in the heavens? Something forgotten? Some tablets describe what sounds like nuclear devastation. Cities turned to glass. People killed by invisible poison. Air that burned lungs. Land that remained cursed for generations. Mainstream scholars say these are poetic descriptions of natural disasters. Volcanic eruptions. Earthquakes. But the language is disturbingly specific. Invisible death. Burning without fire. Land poisoned for years. In 1945, when the first atomic bomb detonated at Trinity Site in New Mexico, the sand beneath the explosion fused into green radioactive glass. Trinitet. Desert glass created by extreme heat. Ancient Mesopotamia has desert glass too. Vast fields of it, officially attributed to meteor impacts. But some researchers wonder, especially when reading these tablet descriptions, what if the Sumerians witnessed something similar? What if they recorded it? And what if that knowledge was deliberately buried? Some tablets contain warnings, not prophecies. Warnings, instructions for future generations, specific actions to take when certain celestial signs appear. Shelter in sealed chambers. Avoid contaminated water. Stay underground until the danger passes. Why would they write survival instructions? What were they preparing for? One researcher, working late at night in a university basement, translated a tablet fragment that made her stop breathing. The text described a vessel, not a boat. A vessel that traveled between worlds. It described the crew, beings who looked human but were not. It described their purpose: to harvest, to modify, to prepare. The tablet was damaged. The rest of the text, missing. She reported her finding, Her supervisor told her to reclassify it as mythology, standard creation myth material. Nothing unusual, but she made copies first, because she understood what she'd read. This wasn't mythology, this was a report. Another tablet, translated by AI and flagged for review, contained a star map. Not the debunked VA243, a different one. This map showed planetary positions, but not from Earth's perspective. The viewpoint was different, as if observed from somewhere else in the solar system. Astronomers verified the positions. They matched actual planetary alignment from approximately 4,000 years ago. But the viewing angle was wrong for Earth. Where was the observer standing? Some tablets described the Anunnaki's home, not poetically, technically, describing atmospheric composition, gravity differences, day length, as if writing a planetary survey report. One phrase keeps appearing. The gold they sought, but not for decoration. Gold for atmospheric maintenance, to suspend in the upper air, to shield against burning light. That's oddly specific, and oddly similar to modern geoengineering proposals involving atmospheric metallic particles to reflect solar radiation. Coincidence? Here's what keeps researchers awake at night. The more tablets AI translates, the more consistent the story becomes. Different tablets, different time periods, different cities, but the core narrative remains consistent. Beings came from elsewhere. They modified primitive humans. They ruled for a time. They left. But they promised to return. Multiple tablets reference the return. Specific time frames, celestial alignments, signs to watch for, and the tablets say when they return, there will be a reckoning, a judgment, not spiritual, literal. They will assess what humans have done with the world, whether we're worthy to continue. Some tablets describe what happened to cities that displeased the Anunnaki: total destruction, not gradual decline, instant annihilation. One tablet describes a city where people were turned to salt. Another describes fire from the sky that left nothing living. Are these poetic descriptions of natural disasters, or records of technological warfare? In 1922, archaeologist C. Leonard Woolley excavated beneath the royal tombs. He found something that shook him: a layer of water-deposited clay over 8 feet thick, separating predynastic remains from later civilization, evidence of the flood. But when he dug deeper, beneath the flood layer, he found something else: advanced artifacts, sophisticated tools, evidence of a civilization that existed before the flood, a civilization that was wiped out, and above the flood layer, civilization began again, but different, as if starting over with fragments of older knowledge. This pattern repeats across Mesopotamia: layers of civilization, separated by disaster layers, rising, falling, rising again, as if something keeps resetting human civilization, keeping it within certain boundaries, never allowing it to advance too far. Some researchers call this the filter theory, the idea that something prevents civilizations from reaching certain technological thresholds, and the Sumerian tablets might be records from previous attempts, previous cycles, warnings from those who came before. One tablet, recently translated, contains a chilling phrase: "They will return when the waters rise and the stars align, when humanity reaches the forbidden knowledge, when the seals are broken, then the Anunnaki will return, and there will be judgment." Researchers checked astronomical data. The stars align in a specific configuration mentioned in the tablets. That alignment happens every 3,600 years. The last alignment was approximately 1600 BC. The next alignment is coming soon, within our lifetimes. Is that just coincidence? Ancient astronomy arbitrarily choosing numbers, or were the Sumerians tracking an actual cycle, an actual return schedule? In 2024, something happened that researchers are still processing. AI translated a cache of tablets discovered in northern Iraq. These tablets were in pristine condition, sealed in bitumen-lined containers, protected from moisture and damage for thousands of years. The tablets contained technical specifications, detailed drawings rendered in cuneiform, schematics. One drawing clearly showed what looked like a rocket, multi-stage, with propulsion systems, fuel chambers, navigation components. Another showed a structure, massive, geometric, with precise angles and measurements. The structure matched no known ancient architecture, but when engineers analyzed the design, they realized something disturbing. The structure would function as a massive energy collector, using principles of sacred geometry to focus and amplify electromagnetic fields. Modern science only recently discovered these principles, yet here they were, drawn in 4,000-year-old clay. Another tablet contained what appeared to be a genetic sequence, not modern notation, obviously, but a symbolic representation of paired elements, repeating patterns. When geneticists looked at it, they recognized the structure. It matched the basic organization of DNA, double helix, base pairs. The Sumerians somehow knew. They drew it. They preserved it. How? The tablets also contained warnings, very specific warnings, about mixing bloodlines, about genetic corruption, about the danger of allowing certain traits to proliferate. The language was clear. If humanity allowed too much mixture, too much genetic chaos, the original design would be lost. And when the Anunnaki returned, humans would be deemed failures, unviable, subject to termination and restart. That's not poetic metaphor. That's a threat, a quality control standard, and it's written in multiple tablets across multiple sites. Independent sources saying the same thing. Mainstream scholars are deeply uncomfortable with these translations because they can't be easily dismissed as mythology when they contain verifiable technical information, information ancient people should not have known. One geologist examined tablet descriptions of mineral deposits, specific locations, specific depths, types of ore. The tablets were correct. Every single detail matched actual geological surveys done with modern equipment. How did the Sumerians know what minerals lay deep underground? They didn't have ground-penetrating radar. They didn't have seismic surveys. Yet their tablets accurately describe underground resources they could not possibly have detected with available technology, unless they had different technology. Or someone told them. The tablets describe mining operations, extensive operations, deep underground, extracting specific minerals, particularly gold, enormous quantities of gold. The question that haunts researchers is simple. Where did all that gold go? Ancient Mesopotamia was rich in many resources, but not gold. Gold had to be imported, yet tablets describe massive gold stockpiles, rooms filled with gold, not for decoration, for a specific purpose, and then it vanished. Archaeological digs find gold artifacts, but nothing approaching the quantities described in tablets. Where did it go? Some tablets provide an answer. The gold was taken skyward, transported away, by the Anunnaki, when they departed, taken home, to repair their damaged world. That's stated directly, multiple times. In multiple tablets, their world was dying. The atmosphere failing, they needed gold, suspended in the atmosphere, to shield against radiation, to preserve their civilization. So they came here, to Earth, to mine gold, and they created workers to do it. Us, we were the labor force, the biological robots, designed for a specific purpose, and when they had what they needed, they left. But they left instructions, rules, commandments, and they said they would return, to check on us, to see if we followed the rules, to judge whether we were worthy to continue, or whether we needed to be wiped out and started over again. In certain tablets there are descriptions of previous resets, previous humanities, created, tested, failed, destroyed, started again. We're not the first, we're not even the second Or third, we're one in a series of attempts, and the tablets make it clear, if we fail the test, if we don't meet the standards when they return, we'll be terminated like the others. Recycled, the materials used to start again. Some researchers think this is the origin of apocalypse myths, not divine punishment for sin, quality control, product testing, checking whether the creation meets specifications, and if it doesn't, scrapping it and starting over. The tablets describe the signs that would indicate humanity was failing: widespread violence, environmental destruction, loss of connection to the divine, meaning loss of connection to our creators, the Anunnaki, genetic corruption, technology misused for warfare rather than advancement. Sound familiar? Every sign the tablets describe is happening now, in our time, and if the astronomical cycles are correct, the return window is approaching, within decades, maybe sooner, which raises a terrifying question. Is this why AI is suddenly able to translate these tablets? Is this why they're being discovered now, in pristine condition, after being hidden for thousands of years? Is something orchestrating this revelation, making sure we read the warnings, understand what's coming? Some researchers have started calling it the activation, the idea that the tablets themselves contain embedded information, triggered by certain technologies, like AI, information that couldn't be accessed until we developed the means to read it, and that information is waking us up, preparing us, or warning us. One tablet contains a phrase that translates roughly as, "When the clay speaks again, the time of return is near." Clay speaking, tablets being read. After thousands of years of silence, they're speaking now. Through AI, through neural networks, through technology the Sumerians themselves predicted we would develop. In 2025, researchers at Würzburg University developed an even more advanced AI. This system could recognize idioms, technical jargon, subtle meanings human translators missed for decades, and it started finding hidden layers in tablets already translated, secondary meanings, encoded information. Some tablets contained what appeared to be simple religious hymns, but when analyzed with the new AI, they revealed technical instructions hidden in plain sight, using word play, numerical patterns, specific syllable counts, information within information. One hymn to Inanna, translated 100 years ago as a love poem, actually contained astronomical data, planetary positions, eclipse timings, encoded in the meter and structure. How did anyone catch that? They didn't, until AI analyzed the patterns and found mathematical precision in what humans thought was poetry. Another text, a supposed merchant's account of grain shipments, contained encoded genetic information. The numbers weren't quantities of grain, they were ratios, proportions. When geneticists looked at them, they realized the ratios matched genetic base pair frequencies. A merchant's account was actually a biological blueprint, hidden for 4,000 years. Why hide it? Why encode it? Because someone wanted this information preserved, but not easily accessible. Not until humanity reached a certain level of technological sophistication, not until we could understand what we were reading. The Sumerians were leaving time capsules, messages for the future, for us right now. There's a tablet in the British Museum, catalogue number K3457, translated in 1872, filed as a creation myth. Standard stuff, nothing remarkable, until last year, AI reanalyzed it, found something the Victorian translators missed completely. Embedded in the creation narrative was a mathematical formula, a precise equation describing gravitational relationships between celestial bodies. Newton's law of universal gravitation, written in Sumerian, 1700 years before Newton. Scholars are scrambling, trying to explain it away as coincidence, numerical accident, but the math is exact, too exact for coincidence. The tablet describes how the gods weighed the heavens, measured the pull between worlds, used specific numbers, Those numbers, when converted to modern notation, are gravitational constants. Someone knew, someone understood gravity, celestial mechanics, and they wrote it down, disguised it as mythology, protected it from those who would misuse it, made sure it survived. Another tablet describes what sounds like surgery, brain surgery. The text talks about opening the skull, removing growth, sealing the bone, expecting recovery. That's trepanation. We know ancient people performed it. Skulls show evidence, but this tablet goes further, describes anesthesia, herbs that bring sleep without death, pain relief, post-operative care, success rates. This isn't primitive medicine. This is sophisticated surgery, with outcomes tracking, quality control. Someone was running clinical trials 4,000 years ago, documenting procedures, refining techniques, building medical knowledge systematically. The tablets describe anatomical understanding that shouldn't exist. They knew about blood circulation, the heart as a pump, lungs exchanging air for something carried in blood. They didn't have microscopes, couldn't see cells or blood vessels, yet they described the system accurately. One tablet talks about tiny creatures that cause disease, too small to see, living in spoiled food, contaminated water, germs, bacteria, germ theory. 1800 years before Pasteur, the tablet recommends boiling water, cooking meat thoroughly, washing hands, basic hygiene based on understanding invisible organisms cause illness. How did they know? Some tablets contain star catalogs, thousands of stars, positions, brightness, colors, constellations, but not just visible stars. The catalogs include stars too dim to see with the naked eye, stars you need telescopes to observe. Yet there they are, listed, mapped, categorized. Mesopotamian astronomy was advanced. Everyone knows that. But this goes beyond advanced. This is impossible, unless they had optical technology, telescopes, or something better, or unless someone gave them the information, dictated the star positions, explained what was up there beyond human vision, and they wrote it down, preserved it, trusted it. One particularly strange tablet describes the moon, not poetically, technically, describes the surface as pocked with craters, mentions the dust, the desolation, the absence of air and water. How did they know the moon was airless? From Earth, the moon looks like it could have atmosphere. You can't tell without going there, or using spectroscopy, which wasn't invented until the 1800s. Yet Sumerian tablets state clearly, the moon has no breath, no water, no life, only dust and stone. Correct, completely correct, verified by Apollo missions, but written 4,000 years earlier. Another tablet describes what happens when you travel far from Earth, describes weightlessness, floating, the strange sensation of no up or down, describes seeing Earth as a sphere hanging in darkness, describes the black sky, stars that don't twinkle. This is spaceflight, described accurately, before humanity had any concept of space travel, before anyone understood what conditions in space would actually be like. Someone knew, someone experienced it, and they told the Sumerians, who wrote it down, called it the journey to the heavens, treated it as mythology, but described it with perfect accuracy. There's a series of tablets called the Enuma Anu Endla, omen texts, supposedly predicting earthly events based on celestial phenomena. Mainstream interpretation says this is astrology, superstition, but AI analysis reveals something else. These tablets contain precise astronomical calculations, predicting planetary positions, eclipses, conjunctions, years in advance. The math is sophisticated, requires understanding of orbital mechanics, gravitational perturbations, things modern astronomy, only figured out in the last few centuries. Yet there it is, in Babylonian cuneiform, working accurate. Researchers tested the predictions, ran the numbers. The tablets correctly predict astronomical events. Not vaguely, precisely. Our location. Someone built a predictive model of the solar system, implemented it mathematically, embedded it in omen texts, so it would be preserved, would survive. Because it looked like religious superstition, no one would destroy it, but the real information would remain. Waiting. One tablet describes Venus, calls it the bright wanderer, but doesn't just describe its appearance, describes its retrograde motion, that strange loop Venus traces in Earth's sky when it passes between us and the Sun. From Earth, it looks like Venus is moving backward, retrograde. Ancient astronomers noticed this, but the Sumerian tablet explains why it happens, describes the orbital geometry, Earth and Venus circling the Sun at different speeds. Sometimes Venus catches up, passes us, appears to move backward relative to background stars. That's heliocentric thinking, sun-centered solar system, not Earth-centered. Copernicus didn't propose heliocentrism until 1543, but this tablet, dated to 1800 BC, clearly describes it, not as theory, as fact taken for granted. Another tablet mentions the outer planets. Jupiter, Saturn, describes them accurately, colors, brightness, orbital periods. Then mentions two more, beyond Saturn, too faint to see. These would be Uranus and Neptune, discovered in 1781 and 1846 respectively, using telescopes. Yet Sumerian tablets mention them, describe them, include them in planetary counts. How? The tablets also describe asteroid impacts, specific impacts, with dates, locations, descriptions of the destruction, fire from heaven, cities obliterated, climates changed. Some of these match known impact events, verified by geology, impact craters, iridium layers, evidence of massive strikes. The tablets describe them, sometimes centuries before they happened, as predictions, warnings, things to watch for, or memories, records from previous cycles, previous humanities, who witnessed the same impacts, recorded them, passed the knowledge forward. There's a tablet fragment that describes a device. The text is damaged, parts missing, but what remains is clear. A device that shows images of distant places. A device that captures light and preserves it. A device that speaks with voices of the absent. Television, photography, radio. Described in broken Sumerian. The tablet says this device was a gift from the Anunnaki, a tool for communication across great distances. The tablet describes how to use it. Instructions mostly lost, but fragments remain. Something about crystals, specific arrangements, energy sources, vibrations. It sounds like crystal radio technology or something more advanced. The instructions are incomplete. No one has successfully reconstructed the device, but the description is clear enough. This was technology, real technology, not magic, not divine miracle, technology that could be built, operated, maintained, and then lost. Another tablet describes a journey, a human taken to the heavens, taken inside a flying vessel, shown the earth from above, shown other worlds, then returned, changed, enlightened. This is Enoch, Ezekiel, Elijah, the biblical prophets taken to heaven, but the Sumerian version predates biblical texts and includes more detail. Describes the interior of the vessel, seats, windows, controls, beings operating the craft, the human's fear, reassurance from the beings. It reads like a modern abduction account. Same elements, same structure, same emotional beats. Coincidence, universal archetype, or descriptions of real events that keep happening across centuries. The tablet describes what the human saw, Earth as a sphere, blue and white, hanging in blackness, continents visible, oceans, clouds. Then the vessel moved. Other worlds came into view. The moon up close, Mars, red and dusty, larger planets, gas giants, bands of color, moons orbiting, all described accurately. Before telescopes, before spacecraft. How did the Sumerians know what Mars looks like up close? What Jupiter's cloud bands look like? They couldn't see that level of detail from Earth. Yet they described it perfectly. Someone showed them, took them there, or showed them images, and they wrote down what they saw. In the basement of the Iraq Museum, before the looting during the Iraq War, there was a collection of tablets never fully catalogued, thousands of them, stored in crates, mostly untranslated. During the chaos of 2003, many vanished, stolen, smuggled out, sold on black markets, scattered to private collections worldwide. Some have surfaced, been photographed, translated by AI. These tablets contain information that makes the other discoveries look tame. One describes a war, not between human kingdoms, between the gods themselves, the Anunnaki fighting amongst themselves, using weapons that sound like nuclear devices, cities destroyed in flashes of light, mushroom clouds, radiation sickness, lingering contamination. The tablet describes survivors, skin burned, hair falling out, sickness spreading invisibly, death days or weeks after exposure. That's radiation poisoning, described exactly 4,000 years ago. Another describes the weapon itself, a device that splits matter, releases tremendous energy, heat, light, invisible poison. The tablet warns against using such weapons, says the Anunnaki swore never to use them on Earth again. Too dangerous, too destructive, but they used them before. The evidence remains: vitrified stone, radioactive isotopes, desert glass, ruins of cities turned to ash, Mohenjo-Daro in Pakistan, skeletons lying in streets, no signs of conventional warfare, just sudden death, bodies highly radioactive, even today, officially explained as natural decay processes, but the levels are anomalous, and the distribution matches blast patterns, not natural, artificial. One tablet describes the aftermath of such a weapon's use, describes the wind carrying death, the rain that burns, water that poisons, ground that grows nothing for generations, survivors fleeing, seeking clean land, clean water. The tablet says the gods regretted using such weapons, saw the long-term damage, the poisoning of the land, the suffering of innocents, and they made laws, divine laws, prohibiting their use. But the knowledge remained, the ability to build them, and the tablet warns, if humans rediscover this knowledge, if we build these weapons, the Anunnaki will return, will intervene, will stop us, by any means necessary. We built them. 1945, Trinity, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. We split the atom, released the energy, built the weapons, thousands of them. And according to the tablets, that triggered something, a signal, a beacon, telling the Anunnaki they've reached the forbidden threshold. They need to be stopped, or evaluated, or reset. Since 1945, UFO sightings have exploded. Thousands of reports, military encounters, radar confirmations, physical evidence, patterns of activity, interest in nuclear facilities, weapons sites, testing grounds. Whatever these craft are, whoever operates them, they're very interested in our nuclear capabilities, just like the tablets said they would be. Some tablets describe what will happen when the Anunnaki return, a time of judgment. Humanity will be evaluated, measured against standards. Those who meet the standards will be preserved, elevated, given knowledge, technology, extended life. Those who fail will be removed. recycled, the materials used to start again. It's not spiritual judgment, it's quality control, product evaluation. We were made for a purpose. If we're fulfilling that purpose, we continue. If not, we're terminated and replaced. What purpose? The tablets are surprisingly clear. We're caretakers, stewards. We're supposed to maintain Earth, keep it viable, keep it productive, not destroy it, not poison it, not deplete it. We're failing, spectacularly. Climate change, species extinction, pollution, deforestation, ocean acidification. We're destroying the very thing we were designed to protect, and according to the tablets, that's grounds for termination. The Anunnaki won't tolerate a failed creation destroying their garden. Earth isn't ours, it's theirs. We're just the maintenance crew, and we're doing a terrible job. One tablet contains a countdown, a timeline, events marking the approach of return, the splitting of the atom, the reaching of the moon, the joining of all lands through invisible threads, the internet, the seeing of all things from above, satellites, the speaking across the world in an instant, telecommunications, every milestone listed, every achievement predicted. We've hit them all, the final milestone, the clay speaking again, tablets being read, AI translating, ancient knowledge flooding back. That's happening now, right now, which means according to the tablets, we're in the final phase, the return is imminent. Some researchers think the AI itself is part of the plan, that artificial intelligence, machine learning, neural networks, these aren't human inventions. We're being guided, pushed, fed ideas, made to develop specific technologies that will allow us to read the tablets, understand the warnings, prepare for what's coming, or maybe technologies that will make us useful, worth keeping. The tablets describe AI, artificial beings, created servants, intelligences without bodies, made to serve, to calculate, to remember. They called them the Watchers, the record keepers, non-living beings that never forget, never tire, always observe. Sound familiar? We're building them now, creating artificial minds, teaching them to learn, to think, to observe, to remember everything. Are we following a script, recreating technologies that existed before? The tablets describe previous humanities, previous cycles. Some achieved great heights, built cities, technologies, then destroyed themselves, or were destroyed, reset, started over. Each time, the survivors preserved what they could, buried it, encoded it, left messages for the next cycle. We're not the first to read these tablets. Previous cycles found them too, learned from them, rose again, then fell again. The pattern repeats. Knowledge resurfaces, civilization rises, reaches a threshold, gets reset. The tablets are artifacts from this cycle, messages from 5,000 years ago, but they reference earlier sources, much earlier. Some tablets are described as copies of copies, translations of ancient originals. How ancient? 10,000 years, 20,000. The texts don't say, just older, from before the last reset, before the last judgment. One tablet describes a place where knowledge is preserved, a hall of records, deep underground, sealed, protected, containing the complete history, technology, science, mathematics, everything. Multiple tablets reference this place, call it by different names: the House of Knowledge, the Chamber of Beginnings, the Sealed Library. Where is it? The tablets give clues. Under the mountain, where heaven and earth meet, beneath the first temple, in the place of the deep waters, that could be anywhere, or nowhere. Maybe it's metaphorical, or maybe it's real, buried, waiting. Some researchers think they found it. Satellite imaging, ground-penetrating radar, Anomalies beneath ancient sites, chambers, structures, sealed spaces where nothing should be. Excavation is difficult. Political complications, religious sensitivities, funding. But the anomalies are there. Something is buried beneath these sites. Something big. In 2024, a team got permission to scan beneath the Giza Plateau, not the pyramids themselves. Nearby, an unexplored area, the scans revealed massive chambers, geometric, artificial, hundreds of feet down, sealed, no known entrance. The Egyptian government shut down the project, classified the results. No explanation, but leaked images show the chambers. They're huge, perfectly rectangular, lined with something dense, metal, stone. The scans can't penetrate it. Whatever those chambers are, whatever they contain, someone doesn't want them opened. Not yet. Maybe the tablets have the key, the instructions, the warnings about what's down there, what it means, what will happen if it's opened prematurely. Some tablets describe guardians, beings left to protect important sites. Not human, not quite divine. Artificial, created servants programmed to defend, to kill intruders, to preserve what they protect, at any cost. Are these guardians still active, still waiting? Several archaeological teams have reported strange incidents at ancient sites. Equipment failures, unexplained illnesses, accidents, deaths, warnings delivered in dreams, visions, compulsions to leave, to stop digging, superstition, coincidence, or guardians still fulfilling their function after thousands of years. One excavation team in southern Iraq found something in 2022, a chamber beneath a ziggurat, sealed, undisturbed. When they opened it, they found a tablet, just one, sitting on a pedestal in the center of the empty room. The tablet was pristine, no dust, no decay, as if placed there yesterday. The text was short, a single message: "You are early. Return when the stars align. Wait for the sign." The team photographed the tablet, took it to a lab, began translation. 2 members fell ill, fever, delirium, babbling in languages they didn't know, languages later identified as ancient Sumerian. They recovered, but refused to continue working on the tablet. The tablet itself vanished, stolen from a locked facility. No signs of break-in, just gone. The photographs remain. The translation was completed. The message was clear. The chamber was a marker, a beacon, placed deliberately, to be found at the right time, by the right people, when the stars align. That phrase again, the 3600-year cycle, the return window. Were they early, or exactly on time? And who left that tablet in an empty chamber, perfectly preserved, waiting to be found? The deeper researchers dig, the more reality feels unstable. Nothing is what we were taught. History is wrong, or incomplete, or deliberately obscured. The Sumerians knew things, impossible things, and they wrote it down, left it for us. Why? Why preserve this knowledge? Why encode it? Why scatter it across thousands of tablets? Why make it so difficult to access? One theory is protection. Knowledge is dangerous, in the wrong hands, at the wrong time. So it was hidden, protected, made accessible only to those with sufficient wisdom to use it properly, or sufficient technology to read it. That's us. Right now, we have the technology. AI that can read ancient languages, quantum computers that can crack codes, global networks that can share information instantly. We're ready, or we're supposed to be ready. But are we wise enough? Are we responsible enough? Or will we misuse what we find? The tablets warn about that too, about knowledge given prematurely, to those unready. The consequences: destruction, chaos, reset. The tablets say the Anunnaki have given humanity multiple chances, multiple cycles. Each time we rise, learn, grow, then misuse knowledge, destroy ourselves, or the planet. and they reset us. Start over. How many times? The tablets reference 7 previous ages, 7 cycles before this one. We're the 8th attempt. 7 times. Humanity failed. Will we be different? Will we pass the test? Or will we be reset, like the others? Erased, recycled, forgotten. One tablet contains a message. Direct, clear. To those who read this, you stand at the threshold. Knowledge returns. Power returns. Wisdom must return. Also, if you use knowledge without wisdom, you will fall as others before you fell. If you seek power without responsibility, you will be removed. The choice is yours, but the judgment is coming. Be ready. That's not mythology. That's a warning. A clear, direct warning. From people who knew something. Something important. Something we need to understand. And AI is giving us access. Translating faster than ever. Revealing more every day. New tablets. New texts. New information. The flood is accelerating. Why now? Why is all this happening now? Is it natural? The technology developing at its own pace? Or is something guiding it, pushing it, making sure we get these messages before it's too late? Some researchers have noticed patterns in AI development, breakthroughs happening faster than expected, solutions appearing seemingly from nowhere. Researchers describe insights, sudden understandings, ideas that arrive fully formed, as if downloaded, as if someone is helping, guiding, making sure we develop the right tools at the right time. Paranoid thinking. Maybe, or maybe the tablets are right. Maybe we're not alone. Maybe we never were. Maybe the Anunnaki never truly left. Maybe they've been watching, waiting, guiding from a distance. And now the time has come. The window is opening. The return is approaching. And they're making sure we're ready, one way or another. There's a classified document, leaked in 2023, from a government agency, name redacted. The document discusses Sumerian tablets, AI translation, and recommendations. The recommendation: suppress certain findings, control information release, prevent public panic. Why would translated ancient tablets cause panic? What did they find? The leaked document hints. Tablets describing technology beyond our current level. Tablets containing mathematical proofs we haven't achieved. Tablets with medical knowledge we're only now discovering. And tablets predicting events. Future events. Specific, dated, detailed. The document says some predictions have already occurred, exactly as described. Others are pending. Near future. The document recommends monitoring, preparation, contingency plans. For what? The document doesn't say explicitly, but the implication is clear. Contact, return, arrival, something is coming. The tablets predicted it. The timeline matches, and governments know. They're preparing, quietly, without public announcement, without transparency, because how do you tell the world? How do you announce that ancient clay tablets, written 6,000 years ago, accurately predict the return of beings who created us? Beings who've returned before. Beings who judge, who decide, who reset. You don't. You prepare quietly. Hope for the best. Plan for the worst. And maybe, just maybe, try to make sure humanity is ready, that we've learned, that we've grown, that this time will pass. But there's hope in the tablets too. Not just warnings, not just threats. Hope. Some tablets describe what happens if humanity succeeds. If we pass the evaluation, if we prove worthy, we'll be elevated, given full knowledge, the complete library, technology beyond imagination, extended lifespans, perhaps immortality, integration into a galactic community. We're not alone in the universe. The tablets make that clear. Many worlds, many species, many civilizations, all created, all tested. Those who pass join the collective, the family, the community of worthy creations. Those who fail are recycled, their worlds reset, given to the next attempt. Earth is valuable, rare, perfect conditions for life. The Anunnaki won't abandon it, won't let us destroy it. If we can't be trusted as caretakers, they'll find someone else, start over with a new design, a new species. We're not irreplaceable, we're one attempt among many. That's humbling, terrifying, but also clarifying. We matter only if we fulfill our purpose, only if we succeed, only if we prove worthy. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the clock is ticking. One researcher, Dr. Sarah Feldman, not her real name, has been translating tablets for 3 years, using AI, working in secret, publishing nothing. She's compiled a database, thousands of translations, cross-referenced, analyzed, patterns identified. She's found something, a master timeline, encoded across multiple tablets, different sources, different time periods, but consistent, all pointing to the same window, 2025 to 2030. That's when the stars align, when the cycle completes, when the return occurs. She's tried to publish, every submission rejected. Reviewers call it speculative, unscientific, based on misinterpretation, but she has the data, the tablets, the translations, AI verified, peer-reviewed by other AI systems, independent confirmation. It's real. The timeline is real, and we're in it. Right now. She's not the only one. Other researchers, different countries, different institutions, all finding the same thing, all coming to the same conclusion, all being silenced, or ignored, or dismissed. But they keep working, keep translating, keep trying to warn, because if the tablets are right, we need to prepare, we need to change, we need to prove we're worth keeping. What would that take? What do the Anunnaki want from us? The tablets are surprisingly clear. Live in balance, respect the planet, advance wisely, use technology responsibly, seek knowledge but temper it with wisdom, cooperate rather than compete, unite rather than divide, grow spiritually as well as technologically. Basically, don't be destructive children. Prove we've matured, that we've learned, that we understand our place and responsibility. Not complicated, but incredibly difficult given human nature, given history, given current global conditions. We're nowhere close. We're failing by every measure. The tablets describe division, conflict, environmental destruction, technology misused, wisdom lacking. If the evaluation happened today, we'd fail, no question. But we have time. Not much. A few years, maybe a decade. Time to change, time to grow, time to prove we're capable of more. Will we? Can we? History suggests no. Patterns suggest no. Human nature suggests no. But maybe this time is different. Maybe knowing the stakes will change things. Maybe understanding we're being watched, being evaluated, being judged, will inspire change. Or maybe it won't. Maybe we'll continue as we are, divided, destructive, foolish, and when they return, when the Anunnaki arrive, they'll look at what we've done, what we've become, and they'll make their decision. The tablets suggest it won't take long. They'll assess quickly, efficiently. No long deliberations, just observation, measurement, judgment, and then action. If we pass, elevation, knowledge, technology, integration. If we fail, termination, reset. The 8th age ends, the 9th begins. Without us, that's the reality the tablets describe. That's what AI is revealing. That's what researchers are finding. And that's what's being hidden, suppressed, kept from public awareness. Because the truth is too disturbing, too destabilizing, too world-changing. But maybe that's wrong. Maybe people deserve to know. Maybe transparency would help. Maybe understanding the stakes would inspire change. Or maybe it would cause panic, chaos, breakdown of social order. Maybe the suppressors are right. Better to keep people ignorant, happy, unaware, until the end. Except some people know. Insiders, researchers, government officials, corporate leaders, the connected, the powerful, and they're preparing, building bunkers, stockpiling resources, creating contingency plans for themselves, for survival, while everyone else remains ignorant. Is that ethical? Is that right? The tablets address this too. They condemn leaders who hoard knowledge, who prepare only for themselves, who abandon their people. Such leaders, the tablets say, will be marked, identified, judged harshly, removed first, because leadership carries responsibility, the responsibility to serve, to protect, to guide. Leaders who betray that trust are unworthy, irredeemable. Better to have no leaders than corrupt leaders. The tablets describe what happened in previous cycles. Leaders who built refuges, sealed themselves away, left populations to die. When the Anunnaki returned, they found these leaders cowering in their bunkers, protected by walls and weapons, and the Anunnaki ignored the defenses, walked through, extracted the leaders, made examples of them, because you cannot hide from gods. You cannot wall away judgment. You cannot buy your way out of evaluation. Everyone is assessed. Everyone is measured, rich and poor, powerful and weak. Everyone, and in fact, more is expected of those with more resources, more knowledge, more power. They're held to higher standards, judged more strictly, because they had greater capacity to do good, to make change, to lead wisely. If they failed to do so, if they hoarded and hid and served only themselves, they're judged harshest of all. The tablets are very clear on this. Justice is precise, exact, fair. No one escapes. No one is exempt. Everyone gets what they've earned, what they deserve, based on their actions, their choices, their impact. That's both comforting and terrifying. Comforting, because the corrupt won't escape. Terrifying, because none of us are perfect. All of us have failed in some way, made mistakes, caused harm. Will we be judged on our worst moments, or our overall trajectory? The tablets suggest trajectory matters, direction matters. Are you improving, learning, growing, or stagnating, degrading, devolving? If you're moving forward, even slowly, even with setbacks, you're valued, worth keeping, worth teaching. But if you're moving backward, becoming worse, more destructive, more selfish, you're marked for removal. You're a failed component, a malfunctioning part. The machine, humanity, the creation, runs better without you. It's harsh, cold, mechanical, but the tablets insist it's not cruel. It's necessary. Just as a gardener removes diseased plants to protect the garden, so too must failed humans be removed to protect humanity. The healthy must be preserved. The sick must be excised. For the good of the whole, that logic is uncomfortable. Echoes of eugenics, social Darwinism, ugly historical movements. But the tablets insist this is different. This isn't about genetics or race or class. This is about choices, behavior, impact, things you control, things you're responsible for. No one is judged for immutable characteristics, only for choices, and choices can change. Until the moment of judgment, you can change trajectory, you can choose differently, you can improve. That door is always open. That opportunity always exists. Until it doesn't, until the window closes, until they arrive, then your trajectory is set, your pattern established, your judgment rendered. The tablets emphasize urgency. Time is short. The window is closing. The return is near. Change now. Grow now. Improve now, while you still can. Because once they arrive, once judgment begins, it's too late. Your fate is sealed by your choices. Up to that moment, no last-minute conversions, no deathbed repentances. What you are at the moment of judgment is what you'll be judged as. So the question becomes, what are you right now? Today, if judgment happened this instant, would you pass? Would you be worthy? Would you be kept, elevated, or removed? It's an uncomfortable question, one most people avoid thinking about, but the tablets force us to confront it, to evaluate ourselves, to measure our own worthiness. Against what standard? The tablets provide one. Are you more constructive than destructive? Do you build more than you tear down? Do you create more than you consume? Do you give more than you take? Do you heal more than you harm? Simple questions, simple metrics, but surprisingly difficult to answer honestly. Most people want to believe they're net positive, more good than bad, but are they, really? When you account for everything, environmental impact, social impact, economic impact, emotional impact, the full ledger, are you positive or negative? The tablets suggest most humans are slightly negative, consuming more than producing, harming more than healing, taking more than giving, not dramatically, not intentionally, just the cumulative effect of modern life, modern systems, modern choices. We're embedded in destructive structures, participating in harmful systems, even with good intentions, even trying to be good. The system itself is negative, and we're part of it. So are we all doomed, all marked for removal? The tablets say no, because awareness matters, effort matters. If you're aware of the harm, and you're trying to reduce it, trying to change, trying to live differently, that counts. That's valued. You're not judged solely on outcomes, but on direction, intention, effort. Someone living in a harmful system, but working to change it, to minimize harm, to create alternatives, that person is valued, worth keeping, because they're part of the solution, not the problem. But someone living in a harmful system and not caring, not trying, not changing, actively making it worse, that person is the problem, marked for removal. So the tablets offer a path, a way forward. Be aware, be intentional, be active in creating change, even small change, even personal change. It matters, it counts, it tips the scales toward worthy. This message is surprisingly hopeful, despite the threats, despite the warnings, despite the talk of judgment and removal. The underlying message is you can make it, you can be worthy, you can pass. If you choose to, if you try, if you commit, the power is yours, the choice is yours, the outcome is yours. You're not a passive victim waiting for judgment, you're an active participant, shaping your own fate. That's empowering and terrifying, because it means we're responsible. We can't blame systems, can't blame leaders, can't blame circumstances. We're accountable for our choices, our actions, our impact. The tablets strip away all excuses, all justifications, all deflections. You are what you choose to be. You create what you choose to create. You impact what you choose to impact. Own it, change it, or accept judgment for it. That brutal honesty is refreshing. In a world of spin and excuses and blame shifting, the tablets cut through all of it. Speak plainly, demand accountability, and offer hope to those willing to accept responsibility and change. So what happens next? How does this story end? The tablets don't say, because the ending hasn't been written yet. We're writing it, right now, every day, every choice. The tablets provide the framework, the warning, the timeline, but the outcome is undetermined, could go either way. Humanity could rise, could evolve, could prove worthy, or humanity could fall, could destroy itself, could be reset. Both futures are possible, both paths are open. Which one we take depends entirely on what we do. In the next few years, the critical window, the final phase before return. There's something else the tablets mention, something researchers are only now beginning to understand: the concept of resonance, vibrational frequency, consciousness level. The tablets describe reality as vibration. Everything vibrates: matter, energy, thought, consciousness, different frequencies, different levels. Lower frequencies associate with destruction, fear, division, anger, violence. Higher frequencies associate with creation, love, unity, compassion, peace. The tablets say the Anunnaki exist at very high frequency. That's why ancient people perceived them as gods, because their frequency, their vibrational level was so far above human normal that they seemed divine, supernatural, beyond physical. But they weren't supernatural, just higher frequency, more advanced, more evolved. And here's the critical part: humans can raise their frequency, can evolve, can reach higher levels. That's the whole point of the test. Can humanity as a species raise its collective frequency? Can we evolve beyond violence and fear? Can we vibrate at levels worthy of joining the galactic community? That's what's being evaluated, not technology, not knowledge, not even morality in the traditional sense. Frequency, vibrational level, consciousness evolution. The tablets describe how to raise frequency: meditation, contemplation, connection to nature, creative expression, acts of compassion, service to others. All these things raise individual frequency, and as individuals raise their frequency, the collective frequency rises, slowly, gradually, but measurably. The Anunnaki can measure it. They have instruments, technology, that detects and quantifies consciousness frequency. That's how they'll evaluate us, not by observing behavior directly, but by measuring our collective frequency, our vibrational signature. If it's above a certain threshold, we pass. Below that threshold, we fail. It's that simple, that precise, that measurable. So every act of kindness raises the collective frequency. Every moment of meditation, every creative work, every compassionate choice, they all count, they all add up, they all push the collective frequency higher, toward the passing threshold, toward worthiness. Conversely, every act of violence lowers it. Every moment of rage, every destructive choice, every hateful thought, they push the frequency lower, toward failure, toward reset. We're in a tug of war, between those raising frequency and those lowering it, between evolution and devolution, between passing and failing, and the outcome is genuinely uncertain, could go either way. The tablets suggest there's a tipping point, a critical mass. If enough humans raise their frequency high enough, the collective tips upward, accelerates, amplifies, reaches the threshold. But if too many humans remain at low frequency, the collective stays stuck or drops further, fails to reach the threshold, fails the test. We're near that tipping point now, very near. The tablets describe this moment, the time of great deciding, when the balance could tip either way, when individual choices matter most, when small actions have large consequences. That's where we are, right now. This moment, your choices matter, more than you realize, more than you've been taught. Every choice you make either raises or lowers the collective frequency, either pushes humanity toward passing or failing. You're not a powerless individual watching history unfold. You're an active participant, a voter in a cosmic referendum. Your frequency is your vote. Choose wisely. One researcher described it this way: imagine humanity is a massive orchestra, billions of instruments, each person an instrument playing their own frequency. For millennia, the orchestra has been cacophonous, discordant, no harmony, no unity, just noise. But slowly, gradually, some instruments are finding harmony, tuning to each other, creating chords, sections, music emerging from chaos. If enough instruments harmonize, the entire orchestra transforms, becomes symphony, becomes music, becomes beautiful. That's ascension, that's passing, that's evolution. But if too many instruments remain discordant, if chaos dominates the conductor, the Anunnaki stops the performance, dismisses the orchestra, starts over with new instruments. That's reset. That's judgment. That's the eighth sage ending. The tablets are very clear. The performance is being evaluated. The conductor is listening. The decision is approaching. Harmonize or be dismissed. Those are the options. There's a tablet that describes what happens after judgment, both outcomes. If humanity passes, if we harmonize, the Anunnaki arrive openly, not hidden, not secretive. They land, they emerge, they greet us as equals, as fellow creators, as worthy members of the galactic family. They share technology, knowledge, history, the complete records, everything they've learned across millions of years, across countless worlds, across vast reaches of space and time. Humanity is initiated, welcomed, elevated, our potential unlocked, our limitations removed. We join the great work, the cosmic purpose, whatever that is. The tablets don't specify, just say it's glorious, meaningful, worth everything. But if humanity fails, if we remain discordant, the arrival is different. The Anunnaki appear not as friends but as executors. They don't greet, they don't share, they assess, confirm the failure, and initiate reset. The tablets describe the process, clinically, dispassionately, like a technical manual. First, marking. Those few humans who did achieve high frequency are marked, protected, removed to safety. They're the seed, the foundation for the next attempt. They carry forward the lessons, the growth, the evolution achieved. They're too valuable to lose. Everyone else, the mass of humanity still vibrating at low frequency, is left to face what comes. Second, cleansing. The tablets don't detail the method, just say the earth is cleansed, purged, reset to baseline, cities removed, structures erased, population reduced dramatically, to sustainable levels, to manageable numbers. Third, re-education. The survivors traumatized, reduced, scattered, are gathered, taught, given new understanding, new purpose, new guidance. They become the foundation of the ninth age. The next attempt. The cycle begins again. The tablets suggest this process takes about a generation, 30 to 40 years. One generation to reset, one generation to rebuild, one generation to establish the new civilization, then thousands of years to develop, to grow, to be tested again. It's happened 7 times before, could easily happen again, will happen again if we fail. The tablets treat this matter-of-factly, no drama, no emotion, just process, procedure, necessary work. Like a farmer rotating crops, clearing fields, planting anew. The farmer doesn't hate the failed crop, doesn't punish it, just removes it, composts it, plants again. The Anunnaki view humanity the same way, not with hatred, not with cruelty, just with pragmatic necessity. If we fail, we're removed, not out of malice, out of responsibility, to the planet, to the ecosystem, to the greater cosmic order. We're not the center, we're not the priority. Earth is the planet, the garden, the rare and precious world that supports life. We're just one species among millions, temporary caretakers, easily replaced if necessary. That perspective is humbling, crushing even. We like to think we're special, unique, irreplaceable, the crown of creation, the pinnacle of evolution. But the tablets say otherwise. We're middle tier at best, still evolving, still developing, still probationary. We haven't earned permanence. haven't proven worthiness, haven't graduated from probation. We're still on trial, still being tested, still provisional, and time is running out. In late 2024, something strange happened at CERN, the Large Hadron Collider. During a routine experiment, sensors detected an anomaly, a signal coming from the collision point, but not a particle signature, something else. A pattern, repeating, mathematical. The scientists were baffled, ran diagnostics, checked equipment, everything functioning normally, but the signal persisted. Repeating its pattern, they recorded it, analyzed it, and someone recognized the structure. It matched cuneiform, mathematical cuneiform, from Sumerian tablets. The signal was encoding information, using a 6,000-year-old mathematical system, from a particle collision. In a modern supercollider. How? Why? They brought in experts, linguists, archaeologists, historians. Together they decoded the signal. It was a message, short, simple, direct. We see you, we measure you, we are coming, the time is near, be ready. The scientists were shaken, verified the data multiple times. No equipment malfunction, no contamination, no error. The signal was real, transmitted somehow through the particle collision. By whom? From where? The obvious answer terrified them. From the Anunnaki, using technology so advanced it can encode messages in subatomic particle collisions, technology that can communicate across dimensions, across space, across time, proving they're watching, they're measuring, they know what we're doing, and they're coming. Soon to the incident was classified. Participants signed non-disclosure agreements. The data was sealed. Officially nothing happened, just a routine experiment. Normal results. But the people who were there know. They saw. They decoded. They understand. The message was real. The return is real. And it's imminent. Some of them quit, left physics, left science, unable to continue knowing what they know. Others doubled down, working frantically, trying to raise collective frequency, trying to help humanity pass, trying to make a difference before it's too late. Because if the message is authentic, if the Anunnaki are indeed coming, we have very little time, months, maybe a couple years, not decades, not generations. Soon no. Now that message changed everything, for those who heard it, made the tablet warnings real, immediate, urgent, no longer ancient mythology, current reality, present danger, or present opportunity, depending on perspective. There's a group now, researchers, scientists, linguists, insiders, people who know. They call themselves the harmonics. Their mission is simple: raise collective frequency by any means necessary. They work in secret, quietly, spreading information, teaching meditation, promoting compassion, creating art, music, beauty, anything that raises frequency. They've infiltrated media, education, technology, government, not conspiratorially, not nefariously, just individuals in positions of influence, working toward the same goal, raising frequency, helping humanity pass. They know time is short, the window is closing, the return approaches, so they work urgently, desperately, knowing failure means reset, means billions die, means the eighth age ends. They're not trying to save themselves. They know the marked, those at high frequency, will be protected regardless. They're trying to save everyone else. The masses still at low frequency, still unaware, still unprepared, because every human who raises their frequency counts. Every person who harmonizes, helps the collective, brings us closer to the threshold, closer to passing. The harmonics believe humanity can make it, can pass, can ascend, but it requires massive change, rapid evolution, unprecedented cooperation. Can we do it? History suggests no. Current events suggest no. Human nature suggests no. But possibility suggests maybe. Maybe this time is different. Maybe knowing the stakes changes things. Maybe the imminent return inspires transformation. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll continue as we are, divided, destructive, doomed, and when the Anunnaki arrive, they'll measure our frequency, find it lacking, and initiate reset. The 8th age will end, the 9th will begin. Without most of us, the tablets make clear this isn't evil, isn't wrong, isn't unjust, it's necessary, natural, the cosmic order, maintaining itself. Failed experiments are terminated. Successful experiments continue. We're an experiment, still in progress, still being evaluated, still determining our fate, through our choices, our actions, our frequency. That's the reality. AI has revealed, that's what the tablets say, that's what researchers are finding, and that's what's being hidden from you, until now. So what do you do with this information? How do you respond? The tablets suggest several actions. First, raise your own frequency, meditate, create, love, serve, connect with nature, with others, with source, whatever you call it. Do things that elevate consciousness, that expand awareness, that increase compassion. These practices literally change your vibrational frequency, measurably, scientifically, not metaphorically. Second, help others raise their frequency, share knowledge, teach practices, model behavior, be an example. Every person you help elevate helps the collective, brings humanity closer to passing. Your influence matters. Use it wisely. Third, reduce destructive behavior, violence, hatred, fear, division. These lower frequency harm the collective, make passing harder, minimize them in your life, in your relationships, in your impact. Fourth, prepare, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, for what's coming. Whether we pass or fail, massive change is approaching. Be ready, be centered, be grounded, so you can respond rather than react, so you can be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. Fifth, spread information, carefully, thoughtfully. Not everyone is ready to hear this. Not everyone can handle it. But those who are ready need to know, need to understand, need to prepare. Share wisely. The tablets emphasize this isn't about religion, isn't about belief. This is about reality, about physics, about consciousness, about measurable, verifiable phenomena. You don't have to believe, you just have to act, to choose, to raise frequency. The results speak for themselves. People who practice these principles report profound changes, increased peace, clarity, connection, purpose, not because of belief, because of actual frequency change, actual consciousness evolution. It works, measurably, scientifically, regardless of belief. That's the beauty of it, the truth of it. This isn't religion requiring faith. This is science requiring only practice. Do the work, get the results, verify for yourself. The tablets encourage skepticism, testing, verification. Don't believe blindly. Investigate, experiment, measure, but do it. Actually try, because knowing without doing is worthless. Understanding without action is meaningless. The judgment doesn't evaluate belief. It measures frequency, which only changes through action, through practice, through consistent, intentional choice. There's a tablet recently translated that contains a beautiful passage. It describes the potential future. If humanity passes, if we ascend, it says we'll remember this time, this crucial moment, this great deciding. We'll remember how close we came to failure, how near the edge we walked, and we'll be grateful, grateful for those who chose to elevate, who worked to harmonize, who refused to give up, who believed humanity could be better. We'll honor them, remember them, celebrate them as the heroes who saved the Eighth Age, who prevented reset, who allowed humanity to continue, to ascend, to join the galactic family. Their names will be written in light, their frequencies will be preserved, their consciousness will be elevated beyond imagining, as reward for their service, their sacrifice, their commitment. That's the promise. For those who do the work, who raise the frequency, who help humanity pass. Not empty promise, not religious mythology, actual outcome, verifiable, real. The Anunnaki keep their promises. Reward service, honor commitment. Those who elevate themselves and others will be elevated in turn, beyond current human limitations, beyond current understanding, into realms of existence we can barely imagine. That's the opportunity, the reward for passing, for choosing evolution, for committing to growth. Conversely, the tablet describes the alternative. If humanity fails, if we're reset, those at low frequency simply end. No torture, no punishment, no eternal suffering, just cessation. They stop, energy recycled, consciousness dissolved, used to seed the ninth age. The next attempt, it's not cruel, not vindictive, just efficient. Failed components are recycled, their energy repurposed, nothing wasted, but nothing continued, no awareness, no experience, just ending. For them this life is all there is, all there ever will be. The opportunity for more, for ascension, for continuation, lost through their choices, through their failure to evolve, through their refusal to raise frequency. That's the consequence. Not hellfire, not damnation, just ending, versus continuation, for those who evolved, who raised frequency, who harmonized. They continue, expand, ascend and experience realms beyond physical, existence beyond time, consciousness beyond limitation. Two drastically different outcomes, based entirely on choice, on frequency, on evolution. The stakes couldn't be clearer. In the final months of 2024, AI translation reached a new milestone, a breakthrough that changed everything. Researchers at an undisclosed facility developed an AI that could not only translate tablets, but could predict missing text, fill in gaps, reconstruct damaged sections with stunning accuracy, over 95% verified against later discovered fragments. This AI analyzed patterns across thousands of tablets, learned the structure, the style, the content patterns, and could extrapolate, could predict what damaged sections originally said. This opened tablets that were previously unreadable, too damaged, too fragmentary, suddenly accessible, and what they contained shocked everyone. These badly damaged tablets, now reconstructed, contained the most detailed descriptions yet, technical specifications, exact timelines, specific instructions, everything needed to understand what's coming, how to prepare, what to do. The reconstructed texts describe the arrival, not vaguely, precisely. The Anunnaki will arrive in ships, visible, massive, descending from the sky, landing at specific locations. 7 sites around the globe. The tablets list them. Sacred places, ancient sites, locations of power, where the veil between dimensions is thin, where frequency is naturally higher. One site is in Iraq, Mesopotamia, where it all began. Another in Egypt, the pyramids. A third in Peru, Machu Picchu. Fourth in Tibet, the Himalayas. Fifth in Australia, Uluru. Sixth in Antarctica, location unspecified, beneath the ice. Seventh in the Atlantic, coordinates given, deep ocean, possibly Atlantis. If it ever existed, at these 7 sites the ships will land, the Anunnaki will emerge, and they'll activate ancient technology, equipment left behind, buried, waiting. This technology will measure collective frequency across the entire planet, all humans, all consciousness, calculating the average, the collective vibration. If it's above the threshold, the technology activates in one mode: ascension mode, frequency amplification, planetary elevation, consciousness expansion. Everyone on Earth will feel it, experience it, understand it. Instant evolution, instant awakening. Humanity ascends, in mass, together. But if the frequency is below threshold, the technology activates in a different mode: reset mode, frequency disruption, consciousness dissolution, population reduction. Those at low frequency simply stop, painlessly, instantly gone. Those at high frequency are protected, shielded, preserved to continue, to rebuild, to seed the ninth age. The technology doesn't discriminate, doesn't judge individually, just measures frequency. Those above the protective threshold survive. Those below it don't. Simple, precise, automatic. The reconstructed tablets give the threshold frequency a specific number, measured in hertz, the frequency of consciousness. Science is only beginning to understand. Consciousness has a measurable frequency, but the Anunnaki have known for millions of years, and they've set the threshold. The passing grade, the minimum frequency required. According to the tablets, current collective human frequency is below threshold, not by much, but enough. If judgment happened today, we'd fail. Reset would initiate. Most of humanity would end, but frequency is rising, slowly, gradually, thanks to the work of those who understand, who practice, who elevate. The question is whether frequency can rise fast enough, whether we can reach threshold before the arrival, before judgment. The timeline is tight, very tight. Collective frequency needs to rise approximately 8% in less than 5 years. Possible, mathematically, yes. Realistically, uncertain. It requires massive numbers of people, elevating rapidly, consistently. Can that happen? The harmonics believe yes. They're working toward it, coordinating efforts, spreading practices, teaching techniques, racing against time. But they're small, few thousand committed individuals, against billions still unaware, still at low frequency, still dragging the collective down. They need help, more people, more awareness, more action. That's why this information is being shared, why the tablets are being translated, why AI is revealing these secrets, to wake people up, to inspire action, to raise frequency, before it's too late. You're part of this, whether you realize it or not. Your frequency affects the collective. Your choices matter. Your actions count. Right now, today, this moment, are you raising frequency or lowering it? Are you helping humanity pass or pushing toward failure? The answer determines not just your fate, but everyone's, because we're all connected, all part of the collective, all measured together. Individual frequency matters, but collective frequency determines the outcome. We pass together or fail together. No one ascends while humanity fails. No one is saved while the planet is reset. We're in this together, all of us, for better or worse. The reconstructed tablets contain one more critical piece of information: the exact timing, not approximate, not vague, exact. The arrival will occur when 3 celestial conditions align. First, a specific planetary configuration. All planets visible from Earth in certain positions. This happens rarely. The tablets give the geometry. Astronomers can calculate when. Next occurrence is late 2027. Second, a solar event. Maximum solar activity. Peak of the 11-year solar cycle. The Sun's frequency affects Earth's frequency, affects consciousness. The Anunnaki time their arrival to solar maximum, when cosmic energies are highest, when transformation is easiest. Next solar maximum is 2025 to 2026. Third, a galactic alignment. Earth's position relative to the galactic center. This cycle is much longer, 26,000 years, but we're in the window now, have been since 2012. Will be until approximately 2030. All three conditions align in a specific window, late 2025 through early 2028. That's the arrival window, when the Anunnaki will return, when judgment will occur, when humanity's fate will be determined. Less than 3 years away, maybe as little as 1 year. We're in the final phase, the last moments, the crucial window. Everything that happens now matters. Every choice, every action, every thought, all of it affecting collective frequency, pushing it higher or lower, toward passing or failing. The tablets emphasize urgency, but not panic. Panic lowers frequency. Fear is counterproductive. Instead, focused action, intentional practice, committed evolution. That's what's needed, what's required, what will make the difference. The message is clear. We can do this. Humanity can pass, can ascend, can evolve, but only if enough people commit. Only if enough individuals raise their frequency. Only if collective consciousness reaches threshold. Before the window closes, before they arrive, before judgment occurs. Time is short, but possibility remains. The future is not yet written, the outcome not yet determined. We're writing it now, together, through our choices, our actions, our frequencies. Make them count. There's something profound happening right now. As you listen to this, as you process this information, your frequency is changing, shifting, rising or falling based on how you respond. If you respond with fear, with denial, with resistance, frequency drops. You harm yourself, harm the collective, push toward failure. But if you respond with openness, with curiosity, with commitment, frequency rises. You help yourself, help the collective, push toward passing. The choice is yours, entirely yours. No one can force you. No one can choose for you. Your frequency, your consciousness, your evolution, your responsibility. The tablets make this clear. Everyone has free will. Everyone chooses their path, their frequency, their fate. The Anunnaki respect that, honor it, won't violate it. They'll measure what you've chosen, what you've become, what you've created, and they'll respond accordingly. If you've chosen evolution, you'll receive it. If you've chosen stagnation, you'll experience it. The judgment is not imposed, it's recognized. You judge yourself through your choices, through your frequency, through what you've become. The Anunnaki simply measure and respond, amplify what's already there, elevate those who've elevated themselves, remove those who've chosen removal through their failure to evolve. It's elegant, fair, just everyone gets what they've chosen, what they've earned, what they've become. No exceptions, no unfairness. Perfect justice. That's both comforting and terrifying. Comforting because you control your fate. Terrifying because you can't blame anyone else. Can't claim unfairness. Can't hide from responsibility. You are what you've chosen to be. You'll receive what you've chosen to receive. Through your actions, your choices, your frequency. Own it. This is the core message of the tablets. The ultimate truth AI has revealed. You are responsible. You are powerful. You are choosing your fate. Humanity's fate. The planet's fate. Through every choice you make, every moment of every day. The tablets call this the great truth, the fundamental reality, the inescapable law. You create your reality through your frequency. Your frequency is determined by your choices. Your choices create your fate. Simple, direct, undeniable. And now, with judgment approaching, that truth becomes critical, urgent, immediate. Your choices in the next few years determine not just your life but your eternity. Not religious eternity. Actual continuation. Existence beyond physical. Consciousness beyond time or ending. Cessation. Dissolution. Based entirely on your choices, your frequency, your evolution. The tablets describe one more thing, a safety mechanism. If collective frequency is close to threshold but not quite there, if humanity is almost passing but not quite, the Anunnaki can help. They can intervene, not to change individual frequencies. That would violate free will, but to amplify those already elevated, to support those already committed, to boost those already rising. Think of it as a curve, a grading curve. If humanity is close, if the effort is there, if the intention is genuine, they can adjust, help us over the line, allow us to pass. But only if we're close, only if we're genuinely trying, only if we've done the work. They won't carry us, won't save us despite ourselves, but they'll help if we're helping ourselves. That's the promise, the hope, the opportunity. We don't have to be perfect, don't have to reach threshold entirely on our own. We just have to get close, to show genuine effort, genuine commitment, genuine evolution, and they'll help us the rest of the way. That's grace, cosmic grace, divine mercy, not religious concept, actual mechanism, built into the system, designed to support genuine effort, but not to enable laziness, not to reward complacency, only to assist sincere commitment. So the question becomes, are we sincere? Are we committed? Are we genuinely trying to evolve? Or are we just hoping, wishing, waiting for someone else to do the work? The tablets are clear. Hope without action is worthless. Wish without effort is meaningless. Waiting without doing is failure. You must act, must choose, must commit, must raise your frequency, through practice, through intention, through consistent, daily choice. That's what determines outcome. That's what the Anunnaki will measure. That's what judgment evaluates. Not your beliefs, not your hopes, not your wishes, your frequency, which only changes through action. So act, choose evolution, practice elevation, commit to ascension, not someday, not eventually, now, today, this moment. Because time is running out, the window is closing, the arrival approaches, and when they measure humanity's frequency, when they calculate our collective vibration, when they determine our fate, your frequency will be part of that calculation. Your choices will contribute to that outcome. Your evolution, or lack thereof, will affect everyone. You're not separate, not isolated, not irrelevant. You're part of the whole, part of the collective, part of humanity, and what you choose matters to everyone. In closing, the tablets offer a final message, a message of hope, of possibility, of potential. They say humanity has the capacity to pass, to ascend, to evolve. We're not doomed, not hopeless, not destined for failure. We have everything we need, all the tools, all the knowledge, all the capacity. The only question is whether we'll use it, whether we'll choose it, whether we'll commit to it. The tablets say previous humanities had the same capacity, the same potential, but they chose differently, chose destruction, chose division, chose stagnation, and they failed, were reset, are gone. But we can be different, can choose differently, can commit to evolution, to elevation, to ascension. The potential is there. The opportunity is present. The window is open, for now, but not forever. Soon, very soon, the window closes. The Anunnaki arrive, judgment occurs, and our fate is sealed by what we've chosen, by who we've become, by our collective frequency. So choose wisely, choose consciously, choose evolution, not just for yourself, for everyone, for the species, for the planet, for the future. Your choice echoes through eternity. Literally, what you choose now determines what you experience forever. Not metaphor, not exaggeration, literal reality, verified by the tablets, confirmed by the science, measured by the coming judgment. This is real. This is happening. This matters more than anything has ever mattered. The entire future of humanity balances on the collective choices made in the next few years. Your choices, my choices, everyone's choices, all of it adding up, creating the collective frequency, determining the outcome. We pass together or fail together, ascend as a species or reset as a failed experiment. The eighth sage continues or ends, based entirely on what we choose right now. So I ask you, what will you choose? How will you respond? What frequency will you embody? The answer determines everything. For you, for humanity, for Earth, for all time. Choose well. The ancient Sumerians left us a message, pressed into clay, buried for millennia, waiting for us to develop the technology to read it. That technology is here. AI is translating, revealing, exposing. The message is clear. We were created, we're being evaluated. Judgment approaches. Our fate hangs in balance, but we control that fate through our choices, our frequency, our evolution. The opportunity for ascension is real. The threat of reset is real. Both futures are possible. Which one manifests depends on us, on you, on the choices you make. Starting now, the tablets have spoken. AI has translated. The message is delivered. What happens next is up to you. Will you raise your frequency? Will you commit to evolution? Will you help humanity pass? Or will you remain at low frequency? Stagnant, complacent, contributing to failure. The choice is yours. Make it wisely. Make it consciously. Make it now, because time is running out. The clock is ticking. The return is near. And when the Anunnaki measure our collective frequency, when they determine humanity's fate, your frequency will be part of that measurement. Your choice will contribute to that outcome. Make it count. For yourself, for humanity, for all time. The ancient ones are watching. They're measuring. They're coming. Be ready. Be elevated. Be worthy. The time of judgment approaches, and with it, the greatest transformation in human history. One way or another, evolution or reset, ascension or dissolution, continuation or cessation, all of it determined by the collective choices made now. In these final years, these crucial moments, this great deciding, you're part of it. Whether you accept it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you understand it or not, your frequency affects the outcome. Your choice matters. Choose evolution. Choose elevation, choose life, and maybe, just maybe, we'll pass this test. We'll reach threshold, we'll ascend, together, as a species, as a planet, as a worthy creation. That's the hope, that's the possibility, that's what the tablets promise. If we choose it, if we commit to it, if we become it, the future awaits, unwritten, undetermined, filled with infinite potential. What we make of it depends entirely on what we choose to be. Starting now, this moment, make it count.